in boardrooms where billion-dollar decisions hang in the air, in training camps where you forge your body into a weapon, in monasteries where silence speaks louder than noise. A pattern emerges. When you reach the top of your field, when you command rooms without raising your voice, when your presence alone shifts the energy of a space, you often share a practice you never discuss in public. Semen retention. Not a trend, not a fad, a deliberate act of conservation that separates you from those who consume their own potential, channeling yours, instead, into empire building. The world teaches you to release constantly. Advertisements, entertainment, endless streams of stimulation, all designed to extract, to drain, to keep you running on empty. But when you refuse this pattern, when you hold your energy instead of scattering it, you begin to operate on a different frequency. Within days, something shifts. The fog clears, your thoughts sharpen. The low hum of distraction fades, replaced by a piercing focus that cuts through noise like a blade through silk. When you retain, you're not thinking about your next fix. You're thinking 3 moves ahead, building, strategizing, executing. This isn't magic. It's biology meeting willpower. Every time you release seed, your body scrambles to replenish what was lost. Zinc, magnesium, dopamine pathways, all diverted toward reproduction instead of creation. But when you break that cycle, when retention becomes your new baseline, your system recalibrates. Energy that once burned out in fleeting moments now accumulates, compounds, transforms into drive that doesn't fade after breakfast. You wake with fire already burning. No crash, no depletion, just steady, relentless momentum. Walk into a negotiation after 30 days of retention. The difference is palpable. Your words come faster, sharper, with a weight they didn't carry before. Your eye contact holds longer without wavering. Your need to impress evaporates, replaced by a quiet certainty that others feel but can't name. Retention rewires your social game. You stop seeking validation because the validation comes from within, from knowing you've chosen discipline over impulse, mastery over surrender. People sense this. They lean in. They listen harder. They defer without knowing why. In the gym, weights that once crushed you become manageable. Your recovery speeds up. Your muscles respond like they're remembering an older, fiercer blueprint. When you retain, you break plateaus that held you down for months. Your body, no longer bleeding energy into the void, redirects everything toward performance, toward dominance. Retention doesn't just build your physical power, it awakens something primal, something that modern comfort has tried to bury. The hunter, the warrior, the part of you that doesn't back down. But the deepest transformation happens in your solitude. Late at night, when the urge rises like a tide, and you choose not to give in, that's where your real work begins. Every refusal strengthens your will. Every moment of restraint builds your new identity. Your old self, the one controlled by impulse, starts to dissolve. In its place, you become the man who decides instead of reacts, the man who leads his own body instead of being dragged by it. This internal shift radiates outward. Strangers notice. Your conversations change. Opportunities appear that weren't there before, not because the world changed, but because you became magnetic. You practice this in secret because society punishes deviation. Admit to semen retention in the wrong crowd, and the mockery begins. But behind closed doors, in the circles where power is real and results speak louder than opinions, the practice is known, respected, quietly encouraged. Because once you've felt the difference, you understand, retention is not about deprivation. It's about redirection, taking the most potent energy you produce and aiming it at conquest, creation, legacy. The ancient texts spoke of this. Warriors abstained before battle. Monks retained to deepen their spiritual connection. Kings understood that sexual discipline translated into sovereign power. Modern science is beginning to confirm what the ancients knew through lived experience. Your testosterone stabilizes. Your dopamine receptors heal. Your brain rewires toward delayed gratification, toward long-term vision instead of short-term pleasure. When you retain, you don't chase. You attract. You don't beg. You command. Not through arrogance, but through the undeniable presence of a man who's mastered himself. When your energy builds and has nowhere to go but up, it floods your system with raw potential. Ideas arrive fully formed. Projects that seemed impossible suddenly feel inevitable. The hesitation that used to freeze your decision-making vanishes, replaced by clarity so sharp it feels like prophecy. Retention doesn't guarantee your success, but it removes the internal friction that kills most ambitions before they leave the starting line. When you retain, you stop fighting yourself, and when your internal war ends, your external battles become easier to win. This is why you stay silent, because the power of retention is too valuable to give away freely. Because in a world that profits from male weakness, from distraction and depletion, when you refuse to participate, you gain an unfair advantage. You move through life with energy reserves others can't comprehend. You outlast, you outwork, you outthink, not because you're genetically superior, but because you made a choice to keep what most men throw away. Retention turns your scattered energy into a concentrated force. It transforms you from the man who was once ruled by urges into the man who rules his own kingdom. And in that quiet, disciplined transformation, everything changes. The world doesn't hand power to the weak. It bends toward you when you've learned to hold your center, to conserve your essence, to become unshakable. You know this. You live it. You just don't advertise it, because the ones who need to know will find out on their own. And when they do, they'll never go back.